nurse and a therapist at Lakeview, and I've been thinking a lot about the topic of self-care, so I just wanted to check in, see how we're all doing, and chat about this topic for a few minutes today, because I feel like self-care, especially in a time like this, is a huge buzzword, and we're all like, yes, take care of yourself, make sure you are feeling rested and rejuvenated, and that's important. But also, before we talk about how to do self-care, I think it's really important to recognize the times we're living in. Living through a global pandemic is not something any of us could prepare for, have prior knowledge of, even have family members who have lived through a situation like this where we can gather information about best ways to take care of ourselves, survive it, thrive in it, whatever you want to say. Living through something like this is a traumatic experience, and I think it's super important that we recognize that this isn't just a typical like, oh, my day is stressful, what do I do? This is actually something that is affecting our brain power and our ability to take care of one another, and that's important to recognize, right? When there is a traumatic event, it can cause your brain to operate at a different level. It can cause parts of your brain to kind of shut down, conserve energy, and help us just get back to those basic level skills of surviving, right? And there's a lot of stressors on us right now. Taking care of our families, making sure our kids are feeling safe and comforted and loved, and helping maybe our significant others who are dealing with stressors. There's financial stressors, there's work stressors, there's all these things that are impacting us. And research shows that when you have to learn a new skill, such as maybe working from home or teaching your kids from home, it's harder to learn a new skill when you're under stress. And also, stress causes us to act and perform in ways that aren't at our optimal. So take heart. If you feel exhausted by all of this, or you feel short or snappy, that isn't because you're failing. That is because you're living through a global crisis. I've heard the phrase a lot, like, it's a new normal, and sure, it's different, but I think even saying new normal puts pressure on us to try to figure out ways to be our best, most maximized self. And it's really okay if you're not feeling that way right now. Really, really, really okay. So now what, right? So much of this stress is building up, and how do we take care of ourselves? And maybe it's not just a bubble bath and a manicure and pedicure at this point. This week we want to talk about practical strategies that you can implement in your life throughout this situation to help you feel centered and ready to tackle the next steps. So this week we're going to talk about 3 things. We're going to talk about grace, how to give yourself some room to breathe. We're going to talk about space. How do you physically take a break when you're following a stay-at-home order and you're in your house with your lovely family? And the third one will be boundaries. We talk about boundaries so much in our practice, but how do we implement boundaries in maybe different ways than just with the people we're with, but also whether it's our media or our friendships or conversations or the news we're consuming daily. So I hope you'll follow along this week as we talk about space, grace, and boundaries, how we can apply them to our lives, and what to do with them. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow to talk all about giving yourself some grace.